Everybody hears voices, and I'm going to explain to you how it's true. I'm going to give you an example. Sometimes you'll hear a song in your head, and you'll say, "I've got this song playing in my head, and I can't get rid of it." You hear voices. I know because I hear voices and I hear songs in my head all day long. Going on 20 years now. Excessive. Sometimes 10 or 20 songs in one day. Another example of knowing that you hear voices, they call it a Freudian slip. These are people that hear voices. What happens is you want to say something, but then you say a different word by mistake. Like you want to say hello or how are you, and then you say, how are you? And I was like, oops, ha 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 ha. Well, a person who hears voices would say, you hear voices. How do we know? Because we make these Freudian slips as voice hearers all the time. It's hard for me to say something. If you look through my videos, you'll often hear me making Freudian slips. And if you look at the ones that are specific about hearing voices, you'll hear me say, I said this, but I meant to say that. And it is because I hear voices. Because the day I started hearing voices, it started to increase. And I'm not saying that it started to happen, instead of once a month, once a week, or once a day. I mean, it was literally, I couldn't get a sentence out without my words, spoken words, being interrupted. That's how bad it was. Um, and it's a fight. So those are two of the big things that indicate that you hear voices. If you have things like deja vu, it's the same. It's just vision instead of voice. You're getting extra. That was an example. I just made a Freudian slip. I meant to say extrasensory perception, but the source of the voices is preventing me from saying it because they're saying they argue. Watch my other voices. It comes from hearing voice. See, I just made another Freudian slip. Watch my other videos. Um, the source of the voices appear to be extraterrestrials. They claim to be beings of light. No such thing as a being of light. You cannot have a being without a physical body. It's nonsense. They don't want me to say extrasensory perception. They wanted me to say extra perception or something. I don't know. And they didn't want me to say extraterrestrials. They wanted me to say beings of light. They always stress it. I don't buy it. I think it's bull. I think it's bull. So you have you receive things through your senses, which is your vision, your hearing, the nerves over here, other parts of your body, even your nose, and you might even have a twitch, and you don't realize it's the same as hearing voices. And it's like I said, how do I know? Because it happens to me every 5 seconds throughout my entire day. One night I woke up and my arm was vibrating, like how you hit your funny bone. I woke up and my arm was vibrating. I said, that's really weird. But when I thought about it, I said, that's a great way to wake somebody up. What if you have to wake somebody up? Imagine if you had the ability to cause someone's arm to vibrate. It would probably wake people up, or to throw water on their face. But what if you don't have the water to throw on their face? Um, so another thing is forced blinking. I've had times when my eyes blinked on their own. Doesn't happen that often, but it's happened. Or sometimes I feel a weird energy in my body. If you watch my other videos, it explains what it is. Or I'll feel a feeling. Like, you ever look at something and you just get hit with a feeling? Sometimes it's not natural. I've noticed that some of my feelings come from within and some don't. Some are on the surface. Like, you feel love over here, but you feel it within. It's a power that overwhelms your body, and it's love. But what if you look at something and you feel love, but you only feel it on the surface and it's weak and it doesn't feel like it comes from within? A person who hears voices would say it's a fake feeling. And that didn't happen to me before I started hearing voices. After I did, I started getting these fake feelings where I'd feel like I'd be doing something like, oh, I gotta spend $1 on this, and then I'd feel guilt. Like, that's weird. Or I would be like, I'm going to get in this taxi, and I would feel fear. It's like, why would I feel fear about getting in this taxi? and it was, like I said, it wasn't that deep guilt that you really feel when you really did something guilty. Like, for example, I remember I was in school and the teacher was yelling at all the students, all of our classmates, because somebody broke a pencil. And I was the type of person, my mother yelled at me constantly. So anytime someone yelled at me, I felt like I was guilty. I was like, I didn't break the pencil, but I felt guilty. But if that happened to me today and I felt guilt and it didn't come from within, I'd be like, this is a fake feeling. So if you feel fake feelings, oh, okay, here's another example. When I was younger, having fear of heights, that's evidence that you hear voices. I will explain. I happen to have a pair of scissors here. I used to see knives and scissors and get the feeling that somebody was stabbing me. Or another example was a crack would make me feel like I was falling. Like my grandmother's house, she had a folding door that opened up and there was the water heater. And if I were at, whenever I would go to my grandmother's, if I looked at it at the crack of the folding door, I would feel like I'm falling. And I would be like, what's that? Really weird. Or I would see cracks, feel like falling. The scissors was another one. Another one was a fear of looking out the window when I would be asleep at night, fear of having my bedroom door open or the closet door open. I was 18 years old and this was happening. So I was like, it's really weird. I'm 18 years old and I'm afraid to sleep with the closet door open. I used to have to get up every night and close the closet door before I went to sleep. And I was afraid to look out the window. I could lie down, but if I look out the window, I would be like, fear. I'm like, I'm sitting right next to the window. Being next to it, no fear. Look out the window, fear. That's weird. It's the same as hearing voices. And it doesn't come from within us, it's coming from somewhere else. So one day when I was 18, I said, this is childish. And what happened was I videotaped David Letterman and I would watch it the next morning, but the tape didn't stop. It recorded the show afterwards, which was like 2020 or 60 minutes. And they were talking about this kid who had all these unrational fears. And I said, okay, this is nonsense. I got to stop this. So what I started doing was sleeping with my bedroom door open, sleeping with the closet door open, and with my foot to the window. So at night I was sleeping with the window open. I'm watching the window. At night I was sleeping with watching the window. The voices are not letting me say what I want to say. They're interrupting my speech so I can't say what I want to say. And for like a year I slept staring out. They're obsessed with this window. They won't let me say what I want to say. For like a year I slept watching, with the window in front of me so I could look at the window at night. I always feel that there's a monster outside. So, guess what happened when I got older? Started hearing voices 20 years later or 10 years later. They sometimes talk about open windows and open doors. They say, close the door, open the door, close the window. I know what it means. Or I would have dreams about a monster outside of the door or outside of a window. Or I would have voices talking to me about being stabbed. And I figured out what all this means. When you see the cracked door and you feel like you're falling, it means don't fall through the cracks. Don't fall through the cracks means you're intelligent or you have a talent. Take advantage of it. Make use of it. Don't be the type of person who says, I'm from a bad neighborhood, and because I live in this neighborhood, see, they're interfering with me. They're making this so I can't say what I want to say. I'm thinking what I want to say, but going through the process of it coming out the mouth, they are preventing me from saying what I want to say. And this started all of a sudden one day I couldn't speak anymore. So basically, what I was saying is don't be the type of person who says, well, I'm my neighborhood, people can't get ahead. Well, if you're smart, you can get ahead. That's what it means when they say don't fall through the cracks. The thing about getting stabbed in the heart, I really don't know what it is, being stabbed by knives. But I had dreams about being stabbed by somebody that I knew who was actually a celebrity. I know a few celebrities who you might know, and I had a dream that he stabbed me, and it hurt, and I was laughing at the time, and I was like, I don't speak to this guy anymore because I knew him 10 years ago, and we're done. It's not that we're still friends. It's not a friendship thing, but our work relationship is done. So we stopped working together. Not going to work with him again because I've moved on. I'm in another country. There's nothing that I regret doing. Nothing bad came out of what happened. I thought it was a great relationship. Great work came out of it. I'm really proud of it. There's no part of my life that I look back and say, I wish I had done this differently. They're interfering with me speaking. I'm not saying what I want to say. Freudian slips are evidence that you hear voices. All the things that I described, dreams, nightmares, visions, deja vu, seeing something and being, where did I see this before? I'm going to tell you where you saw it before. The image was projected into your mind either through a dream or through some other visual form at some point earlier in your life, and you are remembering it. And you being like, I remember this, but I didn't experience it because it is a false memory that was projected to you. So anytime I go somewhere new, I recognize things. Like when I went to college, I said, this building looks like a dream I had. That building looks like a dream I had. That doesn't really happen anymore, but that's something that happened when I was younger. I had deja vu all the time. And I remember when I was in college, I sat down, got a piece of paper, wrote down every deja vu experience I could think of, and it was hundreds. I had gotten up to like 300, and I was having many per day. An example of one was I had a dream about kids, like 10-year-olds, playing soccer, and there was a soccer coach, and they were in front of the house. They had their uniforms on, and like the coach was Korean, and one of the kids was Korean. This is in a white neighborhood. One day I was driving to school, drove by somebody's house, and said, that was my dream. Korean adult man, Korean kid, all soccer team is standing in front of the house, and they were all happy. And I was like, that's weird. What are the chances that that's going to happen? What does it mean? What I do know is I rented a house down the street. I have no idea what it means, but I know that I knew at the time this has something to do with that house that I rented. So I had a near-death experience where I saw my life flash before my eyes. It's absolutely real. I started choking. It's like a VCR playing fast forward. I know that a lot of you might not know how a VCR plays fast forward. If you don't know, get on the internet and look for VCR playing fast forward and watch it. The video goes by super fast. And it was weird because I understood what I was seeing. It was showing me my life from a child up until the age of 18. And the last couple of years were just black, meaning I literally saw just blackness for like a few seconds. And it was in chronological order, and it would just be like a frame, and then 5 times it would pause and show me a short 1-second video where I was interacting with someone. And the first 2 times I felt bad about what was going on, and like the last 2 times I felt good about what was going on. And this was stuff like when I was 5 years old, maybe when I was 7 years old, when I was 10 years old, when I was 12 years old, when I was 14 years old. I was like, if you're 5 years old and you feel bad about something that happened, it's like, who cares? You're 5 years old. You're 5 years old, make mistakes. You say something mean to somebody, you hurt their feelings. Maybe I felt bad because I was feeling the feelings of the person that I was interacting with. My grandmother used to have dreams about me. My grandma would I would call my grandmother when I was in college, and she would say, "Mi dreame you," because I'm Italian. She said, "Mi dreame you," and she would tell me the dream, and I was like, holy shit, that is exactly what is happening in my life right now. My grandmother had some sort of an ability. So I heard voices, and one day I told my aunt. It was really bad. I mean, I was constantly seeing beings everywhere. It's like they're following you around. And it's like there's one standing right there, there's one standing right there. And they're always saying, like, that person's bad, that person's bad. No, it's that person. They're always making nonsense, right? And I told my aunt, I hear voices. And my aunt said, Grandma, do the thing. That's what she said. She said, do the thing. She said it in Italian. You know, I don't know. I know the thing is la cosa. Um, I don't remember I remember because I learned Spanish. I forget my Italian. So grandma comes over and she starts making the sign of the cross like 100 times on my forehead, and she's whispering something. And then she says something to me. And she said, "You're being harassed." And she said who it was. What she said was kind of like saying, well, you're a victim of racism or you're a victim of sexism. I'm going to tell you, she said, you're a victim of sexism. That's what she said. But she said it her way. The way she said it was a man and a woman. And I interpret that, okay, she's talking about sexism. And the reason why is because I'm 5'6". 5'6". Yeah, the voices are interrupting me from saying what I want to say. 5'6" man living in the United States, you know what I'm talking about when you say victim of sexism, because no woman wants to associate with you because you're 5'6". So you feel like a victim of sexism. Well, get out of the fucking country. Solves the problem. But that's what she said. And I'm like, I don't need my fucking grandmother to tell me this. I already fucking know this. And being harassed by these voices to tell me that I'm a victim of something, it's like, what am I supposed to do? I've tried to date women. It's not like I didn't try. I fucking tried. Okay, well, I'm gonna move on, but I'm gonna tell you, yes, people hear voices, and hearing the music. Look up the lyrics. Think of the song. Look up the lyrics. See if it relates to something in your life. Keep on doing that, and you're gonna be like, "This is really weird. I must be psychic." No, you hear voices, and no, it is not magic. It doesn't come from God. It's coming from a technology from extraterrestrials. Every time you hear on the TV news, there's a UFO sighting, but why don't we make contact with them? Oh, trust me, you've made contact with them. Feel free to post below about how I am absolutely crazy. Um, I'm going to be proven right on this. It's going to take some time, a couple of decades, but at some point I will be verified that what I'm saying is true.